Today is 15 November 2023. It's 14 hours, 50 minutes. Rio de Janeiro City, Federative Unit. Rio de Janeiro, Criminal State, Brazil, by the misuser. Inside an interval common as institutional corruption acting as power misuse. We will report to the International Criminal Court considering the models we had before to the ACD, and we are reporting in the channel as International Criminal Court talking with the International Police about the misuse of power feeding criminal organizations by violation of guarantees to suppress rights, including the protection and lines that can be touched or crossed, and if make an entry, for instance, in your private space, your privacy will hurt everything on it, including the industrial asset sourced at the misuse of power, which has as bottom the corruption. In the same way, the OECD will have the talk as institutional dialogue with the antitrust justice to understand that the interval common as corruption, public and corporate, combining things by complementary and having the permutation, especially observe the center of interest at decision will be the trust, right? The model we offered, we were reporting that we offered model of institutional control to the OECD, to the International Criminal Court and the Antitrust Justice, considering the time to do the decision must be proper and the decision properly made and applied. And we also had the European monetary system and the US debits and credits. We have a division here, quite simple. The monetary European will help to understand how things go there. The debit and credit USA, how the financial flow goes considering the size of these two, both economy, Europe as continent, the most wealthy, and US as financial records as the most wealthy nation. This was the idea of our control model. We will recommend to do something quite simple. If you are in Brazil, you probably must consider have something like this to work as a compilation of, could be, has a lot of companies, business, and bookstores offering this. It's a compilation of the law in Brazil. You take a look at the rights you got hurt as company or whatever. Check the law and observe the Article 5 as the guarantees you have. In general, for instance, no one should be forced to do the punishment inside the criminal system because you are feeding the criminal organization, the criminality, whatever. In the same way, when you are required to offer information as a company by a corrupted system, you must have this on mind. You will do this if you are in Brazil as an international company. You will pay your tax, you will give the information with reservations, and you comply with your embassy this way. We'll check that we have some chairs that are long life chairs in Brazil, considering the distribution of power. Some chairs have a period as decisions by the electors, and others by the decision of the electors, but we function, for instance, as justice, as the government and the Congress. We will observe that this gives me this situation here. We have the long life chair has judicial power constant, knowing all things. The repetition of chairs as a Congress or government will be kind of something that you need the frequency. How many times God had the power as Congress or government, to understand the logical gaps and the evasive behavior. Because when we did the review of things we are doing, we will observe that the same pattern you observe in USA as the power is equal, which is the difference is how you use the power. The power in Brazil is okay, but the use is misused by specific misusers. But they will try to blame the institution, instead assume their guiltiness, claim their own resignation, and show the contribution with the compromise assumed as commitment by this republic. And today is the celebration of the republic with the development of mankind, observing the Article 4. I use this one because I think that's much more easy. The Federative Republic of Brazil will go in international relations by these guidelines. Number 9, cooperation between the people for the progress of mankind. People is Brazilian and foreigners. The violations we observed in Brazil, hurting the right as protection. It implies lower capacity at the security and institutional array, integrated as failure, as we could observe some jazz along life, some elected by frequency, with gaps as evasive behavior that compromised the development of mankind. You are unable to do the transparency and have the accountability, satisfying the guarantees on Article 5, Guarantee 33, and also ensure that you do everything to protect the property as private property on guarantee number 22. Especially when you do abusive procedure, sometimes stealing your property, sometimes hurting your private space and interest on it, sometimes putting infiltrated agents at the company to take advantage, obtain the secrets, or set a lot of complaints at these companies and have cases and a judicial system that is ruled by problem. If they claim one unique judicial power by some judge hurt or killed, they are a unique judicial power to be complained in an accusation against the state crime by criminal use of power in state and institution. The election in USA, you check that you have the Republicans and the Democrats, the distribution of votes considering the null votes. We have 15 votes for Republican, 25 votes for the Democratic win the election. Then you decide to handmade the null voters, including that people, and put a number here, modifying things. You can change the behavior of the election. Indeed, one more time, you observe that the election is okay, but the behavior of the election can be not okay. The behavior of electors can be okay, or candidates, but the candidates can be okay as signature, right? But the behavior can be something wrong. In the same way, the electors, probably they will be dead and voting. The candidate will have a lot of crimes covered by fake records, but if discovered, we had two situations. The first one, the problem on is the US election and the control to allow the candidates, you have a decision, move the election or put the candidate out and have a specific situation. We will observe that this idea as review we are doing, considering the new tracer, and we are operating our model new tracer by quadrant tracer. We have a quadrant tracer with dismiss as tracer chairs, for instance. Inside the Republican and Democrats, corrupted both. It implies that these people here, and this is something we got at the review, will have kind of coming and going inside the political party, and the political party in general is talking with the people. Now we will observe that indeed we have insider trading by the attraction of the people at this gateway that has both, and this gateway that have the Republicans. In general, are those councils or committees, or American people like to do this kind of thing to talk about and have the issues. But we are observing that the model is different. In general, the difference is leading to advantage that you'd like to take, and this is the misuse of power in general, treasoning your elector or your political party. We observe that the failures on budget and how you use the resources and decision will expose your intent at the discretionary debt or the fixed debt. It implies the application of the resource. It's okay always, but the way you apply and the behavior of the things and the consequence of the resources applied will be something that you must consider review. We will have the database sigma, considering that you can do the fake report, and it's always recommended to have more than one, and especially the database sigma going by US Defense as a system to ensure that you have the hearing procedure at the dismiss of corporate and public departments linked with criminal activity to achieve the misuse of power, combining both as a matrix parallel go inside your architecture as United States. This is observed at the behavior of the electoral procedure by schemes to achieve the electoral power. Was also observed at the past this way, affecting corporations, government, and state by intentional misuse or not proper application of the premises. The evasive gap will be served also, for instance, in Brazil. The transnational organized crime is standardized, operated mostly equally in Europe, in Brazil, or in the United States. This is something really, really relevant. We will observe, and we did this at the past, that our function indeed will be a function misused. But the index here is kind of the corrupted elements inside the function until you have your function kind of expressing okay, but internally exposed as a criminal activity, and the regular activity will be something that you consider outdated, I would say, or out-fashioned. But indeed is the real thing. We observe that this is an index, right? Right. Can you operate this? Of course you can. How we gonna do? With a plea bargain. Because if this index, and you could understand that the criminal groups using resources and do everything wrong, not make the proper thing, it means that this is my function. Now my function is kind of having an index, and this index in general do everything wrong until have the pattern of my function switched, exchanged. Right. Right. But they are caught with the hands in the act, and they are also individualized. They got individualized by the misuse of power, which indeed is this situation here. Now I will have a regular procedure to put things straight again, which is the dismiss procedure, right? Collecting the information. Brilliant, isn't it? And simple, while data taxa. It's was acquired in the past, you consider have the intellectual protection and not things is no wrong in USA. Considering the American law, especially by the interference we suffer by a criminal system to protect the asset, and the intelligence. If you have a financial model to the antitrust justice, it's not to be applied by other, group of interest, but to the antitrust justice, and of course that's against the crime. We'll break and move forward.